If your eyes are closed, would you let them open? But you don't need to look at the monitor, at the computer. Just look off to the side. And using a little bit of wordplay here, maybe to shift our perspective a bit. Just see who's looking at you. Who's looking at you as you look around a bit? It's a game, but it may help us to put ourselves in perspective as being part and participant of life. I'm looking at a speaker looking at me. So look around a bit, and if you would indulge me in that little game, you could say to yourself, oh, look who's looking at me. A painting, a candle. Just, look around a bit. This is children's book. Maybe some of you know it. I forget the wording there, but it's about who's looking at you. In other words, who's there too? I see myself, experience myself as at the center of things. But if you would continue to look around, who's there too? What is there too? And if you would get up, if you can, it's not necessary, but it's good to move a bit. If you would get up and just go to a few things, everyday objects, just ordinary things, and touch them. I'm using a book here. Doesn't matter what it is. If I see it, but now I can also feel it, its presence. This is not about thinking. Thinking is just kind of when there's closed captions in a movie, we're always tempted to look there. We don't need to see it. We hear what's being said, but we can't stop reading it. Here too, you feel. It's very hard not to think about it. Okay. But here's his presence beyond words. And I'm going to say it this way, it interacts with me. It influences my muscle tone, the way I move my fingers, my seeing. And then I put it away and give it back to where it was. And let your gaze wander a bit and go to a different, ordinary, everyday object. Now, we love our stones and our very special things. But this here is just as present. Could I meet it in its suchness? And can I feel how it reaches me with its texture? As you know, sensory awareness is about how we are in everyday life. It's not something special. It's not doing something special. But it's present for what's there, which is special. This thing. If I let go of what it is and meet it anew. If it lets go of what it is and meets me anew, then I put it away. You know, sometimes somebody was sending a message earlier, putting away groceries. That's a wonderful way of being present with things in quick succession. You pick something up, you're with it for a moment, but you're with it for that moment. And then you put it to wherever you think it belongs, and you leave it. And you go to the next thing, ordinary thing. You meet it for this brief moment. It's so simple and it's so profound. It really doesn't take a lot of embellishment. Embellishment only gets in the way of it. Here, texture, temperature, form, its relationship to the pull of the earth. And goodbye. And go on to the next thing like you would in everyday life. It doesn't give you hours and hours to contemplate the depth and importance of this moment. Because you're right there, you don't need it. It's obvious. Here we are together, and then we part. And one more encounter. And we put that away. And we come back to the chair if you've been up. And there's that interaction. And we turn to the screen. And there's a lot of people here. So, would you close your eyes? And with your eyes closed, you may notice the meeting of eyelids and the quality of that connection. If you want to, you can blink a few times, it maybe becomes more clear. that delicate connection of the eyelids and the covering of the eyes. Sometimes it's a bit forced. Maybe I noticed that. Maybe there's a bit of fluttering or restlessness in the eyes. And to just be with that. That's nature. We tend to separate ourselves from nature. It's like I'm in nature, or I want to go into nature. But you are. That's the conditions in and around your eyes, not as you wish it to be, but as it is. It's not about achieving anything, but maybe realizing this separation we create. This is me. I'm going into nature. It's just an idea. Even our thoughts are nature. Even our idea of I are nature. Continuous unfolding. I'd like to, you can keep your eyes closed. I'd like to read something to you. This is from my manuscript of my biography of Charlotte Selver. Central to Elsa Gindler's work, that was her teacher, was to become quiet. Central to the work was to become quiet. As long as we are preoccupied with ideas and expectations, we cannot be there for what is happening, for what could be happening. Then she mentions a person who was important for her too, Alfred Korzybski. Some of you will be familiar with him. His central question, stemming from his personal experiences of war, was, why must there be wars? And she said that Korzybski's answer was, because people don't listen to each other. So central to sensory awareness is this ability, this cultivation of pausing in our reactivity so we can listen. And it's not listening just with our ears. It's sensing, it's feeling, it's seeing. Would you open your eyes again? And let your gaze wander again and see what's there with you. And could you, as Charlotte often said, allow seeing? And as I would add, can you allow to be met? Not with thoughts, but before thoughts. This little game again, maybe, if that helps you. What if the things were looking at you? They're showing themselves to you. Whatever it may be, a speaker, a printer, a bell. And maybe this is where we can begin to learn to listen with these simple things that are just here. I don't want to sound beautiful here. It sounds too beautiful. Because it's really important to me. You know how you like to be seen, probably. I like to be seen. It's a little scary too. And maybe whatever you touch, would you reach out again to touch something and take something into your hands? It wants to be met in a certain way. Don't make a story out of it. It wants to be simply met in a certain way according to its shape, its weight, its temperature. Just something every day. What if we listened first with our hands, with our eyes? Maybe a brief meeting, and we let go of it. How do we let go of it? How do we place something back to where it was, or where it goes now? What if that mattered? How you put something down, not to make a task out of it. Yes, I know, that's the hard part, but just let it happen. There, putting you back. Why must there be wars? Because people don't listen to each other? Maybe because I'm not there when I touch and lift something, because it's nothing special, it's just an object at my disposal, because all of this belongs to me, is my property. How about if I met it as a you? Thank you. We have some time for an exchange. I'd like to say a few words before to what inspired this way of working. I'm sure many of you feel the same. I mean, here we are in this incredibly privileged situation of being able to sit together and sense for an hour and feel and be present. It's a luxury that most people on this earth don't have. While we are working together, people are being shot at and killed. People are being starved. And, sometimes I do wonder if this is too much indulgence here, our little sweet sessions together. And the danger is there. And those of you who knew Charlotte knew that she grappled with this all the time. This question of people becoming so self-centered, in love with their experience, and that danger is there. I feel it in myself. I'd like to be blissed out, and there's a place for that. But ultimately, I continue to practice because I truly believe, and I know it from my own experience, that this world needs this. And again, I hear Charlotte say, if you've come here to feel good, you're at the wrong address. But if you've come here to explore, to find out, then you're in the right place. And it's uncomfortable. I think it has to be uncomfortable too. Because there's so much discomfort in this world. And if we just come here to have a good time, this is not for me. But if we come here to truly cultivate listening and responding, then I believe then it's worth it, and it's beautiful. Needless to say, but I get to say it because I'm leading the session, is that the hints are there always. The world is always hinting at us. Don't come to a sensory awareness class. Well, we do need it as a reminder, but I know, Sarah. I know, Sarah. So but I'm really serious. I mean, also to myself. The world is constantly asking for our response, constantly.
Yeah.
And if we, maybe that's the practice of coming to a state of quiet, which again, there's so many invitations. The floor under me invites me to settle down, but it needs the willingness to turn to it and to turn to it and to turn to it, so that the sunset can come to me. So I'd like to close the session and inevitably leaving out a lot of places of pain and hurt, and I'm thinking of a Peter Gabriel song. Fear is the mother of violence, and also hurt, and trauma is the mother of violence. I think of the importance of healing and what we can contribute to that. And I'd like to dedicate our work together to those places of so much pain: Gaza, Israel, Sudan, Yemen. There's too many places. And sometimes when I practice, I don't know if it does any good, but maybe maybe it helps us to deepen in a particular way. I actually put myself in a place of conflict and I practice there, just in my imagination. And we all have to find our ways to not be so self-absorbed, but to give ourselves away by finding ourselves. So thank you very much. I will be staying on. I will end the recording now, and I see you some other time.